Ama Fry. Still, the only TV show with a hat.
Welcome back from the break, and hey, Aja Cruz. I mean, she's doing very, very well. But I've got some very interesting messages that is here. This one says that Youth Empowerment TV, nice program. Richie, the lady fine, wow, try and marry her. Good job. I'm not looking for love. Right. Interested message also here at the moment, but wow. Let me read this one. This one says that Richie, nice program. Can you repeat the numbers she gave us again so that we can contribute to the show? Okay. On Facebook too, we don't have some messages, new messages yet. Text message too, not yet. Okay. So I'm going straight into my discussion, and Charlie, a lot has been happening in Ghana lately, and I must admit, I wanted to just quickly let you know we are discussing two topics: the impact of the IMF on Ghana's economy, and then will the e-levy be scrapped off after the IMF implementation. So two things we're going to be discussing. My guest is already seated, and this is Abdul Rafiu Haruna. He's a youth and political activist, and I also have Michael Chris Tete. Michael is a youth or political activist, and this is the young people's opinion. This is the young people angle so far as this two national issues are concerned. Let me give you a breakdown. 2016, the New Patriotic Party, as part of their campaign promises, were saying they have the men and they were the better managers of the economy. In fact, and I quote, Ghana, new here, mine. Ghana, I am a bododo. Yet is a castle and so accommodate. So fast forward, MPP won power, introduced free education, successfully was able to do some one district, one factory. As of the total number, I can't confirm yet. One village, one down at certain areas. Rafiu is here, he can confirm some of them in the northern side if he's seen some. Fast forward, the economic indicators were doing well at some point. Ghana was touted at some point as the fastest growing economy in the world. We received applause, good management of the COVID-19 situation in our country. Now, times are hard in 2022. Every economic indicator is sinking down. Ghana's inflation around the late 30s or early 40s. I mean, either 37, 38, 40 or so. I'll confirm that I have that detail here. Now, with all of these challenges and everything that is going on in Ghana as at now, people are busting and lambasting the government of the day. The opposition, NDC, I mean, have made several statements as far as the economy is concerned. Recently, we had a 2-day demonstration in Ghana by the Arise Ghana people. In fact, it was met with, at some point, the first day brutality and some pelting of stones to the police and all of that. As young people, we need to discuss this issue from our angle. As young people, we need to also let every side of the political divide need to hear young people speak. Now, MPP or the government is saying that, listen, we said we're not taking Ghana to IMF. At the time we said it, nobody knew Russia was going to go to Ukraine on 24th February 2022. Nobody knew COVID-19 was going to come up. So the NDC and the Arise Ghana, every person complaining, please understand that the situation is different. COVID-19 and Ukraine is affecting our economy. So you guys should check Turkey. Inflation is about 80%. And other countries, even in Belgium, people were demonstrating in Belgium, brass band, that the economy, things are difficult. So Ghanaians, please, we are not bad managers, but everywhere in the world is hard. Are young people sharing this opinion with the government? I'm going to clearly start with Rafiu. Senior, do you agree with government? Do you sympathize with government?
Thank you very much, Richie. I would like to say a very good afternoon to your viewers and listeners across the length and breadth of Ghana. Especially my people from Bole Bamboy in the Savannah region. I must say it's always a privilege to be part of this platform. I think the issue of the IMF has been raging for some time now. Has taken center stage in the national discourse for some time now. Many people have aired their views in that regard. I think before I make my substantive submission, I would like to say that because of my Pan-African convictions and beliefs, I am not a fan of IMF. It's also another way of saying that we are incapable of managing our affairs, and that people should come and take charge and give us economic directions, economic directives, and economic salvation. In fact, it is instructive that we take a historical journey to appreciate the fact that this is not the first time we are going to IMF.
Okay.
I think down memory lane, we are going there for the 17th time. And I think I recall fondly, I am very familiar with history because of my interest in Africa. So in the Second Republic, when Bourgeois adopted this co-opted economic diplomacy, where Harvard economists from IMF came to determine the fate of the Ghanaian economy, I think one of the most important reasons why the government was overthrown was this co-opted economic diplomacy. I think through to the structural adjustment programs in 1983, and economic recovery programs, the result was the same. And quite recently, when President Mama in 2015 took us to IMF, the result was not different. So I would want to say that I am not a sadist, I am not a pessimist. But I want to suggest that this particular IMF situation would not be different. And I begin to cast doubt about the outcome of this program. That's just by the way. One thing I am very surprised about is that later did I know that the government under President Akufo-Addo would one day make a U-turn to the IMF. You know, somewhere along the line, categorical statements were made to the effect that going to IMF was a mark of incompetence. We're all in this country where government officials, including the president himself, who was then the opposition leader, make claim to the effect that we have oil, we have every natural resources, and we are going to IMF for economic recovery and economic, salvation. Today, under his own, supervision, we are going to IMF. And that is the extent to which politicians sometimes, appear to be dishonest. I am choosing my words very carefully. And like I said, if I was shocked to the bone marrow when the news broke to me that we are going to IMF. You know, the electronic levy, the last time I appeared on this platform, we came to discuss the e-levy. And it was a very, insightful discussions from the youth perspective.
Yeah.
And we were made to believe that the e-levy and the IMF were a mutually exclusive situations, in that if the Ghanaian people decide to opt for e-levy, then we will not go to IMF. And if you chose not to accept the e-levy, we will go to IMF. Interestingly, the e-levy was forced down our throats against the fierce resistance from the Ghanaian populace. And now we are going to IMF. What then is our fate as a country? Only yesterday, I heard the chief mission, Carlo Dralevich is in Ghana. He's leading the chief mission of IMF to begin preliminary discussions about the IMF program we are going to seek. I think he made it very clear. It was clear that we are not going for only balance of payment support. We are also looking for debt sustainability support. We are also looking for what do you call it? We are looking for debt sustainability support. We are looking for balance of payment support and other support as well. But we're made to believe that we are going to IMF only for budget, balance of payment support. That is the statement from the finance minister. So in this age and time, what I don't like about government communicators is the fact that we are trying
political dishonesty.
Political dishonesty, exactly. Political dishonesty. we should be made to believe that this is the situation we are. We are in the trenches and we want the Ghanaian people to support us. So, and we are on the crossroad. So, I believe that this is not the time to play political shenanigans. This is not the time to use PR, tactics to lure Ghanaians into thinking that IMF is going to solve our problem. Apart from that, quite recently, the finance minister of this country, in his town hall discussion, stated that the government is not even going to IMF. That was clear. Very recently, the deputy finance minister in parliament reiterated the same words in different ways that we are not going to IMF. And today, we are going to IMF. So that is my issue with what? The politicians of this country. Yeah. Now the question now is, are we going to scrap the e-levy? Because like I said, we're made to believe that there were two mutually exclusive situations. So now that we are going to IMF, are we going to scrap the e-levy and return all the taxes we have taken from Ghanaians thus far? Yesterday, this question was lingering on the minds of Ghanaians for some time now. But yesterday, the dust was settled by the finance minister himself. I heard him on another platform saying that the e-levy will not be scrapped. Meaning, we are going to intersperse e-levy and what IMF bailout. That is not fair to the Ghanaian people. That is not fair, in my candid opinion. And he said that if IMF would even lead to the introduction of new taxes for medium term, and he's made it clear that the IMF, they will rely on the IMF for technical support to make the e-levy very effective, because our revenue targets are not met ever since we implemented the e-levy. So that is the level of dishonesty that we experience in this country. Another aspect or another strand of my argument has to do with the fact that it cannot be fair to claim that yesterday going to IMF was a mark of incompetence, and today want to claim that your IMF situation is different from that of Mahama. IMF is IMF, and the only countries that are in economic distress that go there for support. So if Mahama in the past took Ghana to what? IMF, and you're also taking Ghana to IMF, you must have the decency to admit that to some extent you have also failed. Yeah. And you must have the decency to apologize to the Ghanaian people. You must have the decency to let the Ghanaian people understand that, yes, we came to you, we told you people that we will not take you people to IMF, but today's situations are beyond our control.
They have done that. They have said that the COVID and the Ukraine war is what has constituted. So bear with us. The information minister is more or less like doing some media soiree, moving around, explaining why we need to go to IMF. If you are saying the information minister is saying this, I am yet to come across this clear. He was on City, he was on Joy, he was on...
But I also heard the MPP communication director, Yao Bobian Samuel, on TV3 2 days ago saying that they won't apologize to Ghanaians.
He's not a government official. We did not vote.
But he's part of government.
Yes, I understand. The Commission of Political Parties and all, he's not part of government. His party is responsible for government and day-to-day administration of our, but he doesn't speak for the government.
Of course, he doesn't speak for government, but he speaks based on the position of government.
Okay, based on position of government as director of communication for MPP.
Yes, that's
the responsibility of information minister.
That is the political system we practice in this country. You cannot strike a distinction between the party position and government.
No, but most often you agree with me as a political scientist.
Yes,
there's a clear dichotomy. Just that maybe. Obviously, the party communication machinery would try to become a backup, more or less like communication tool for the government. But clearly, there's an information directorate.
Certainly, that is not in doubt. But I feel like, I believe Yabobian Samoa is also speaking as an authority in the MPP.
So you party. Choose Yabobian Samoa over the information minister speaking to Ghanaians to
not really, but I can speak to the statement of Yabobian Samoa. Okay. As far as the MPP government is concerned, he's saying that they are not going to apologize to Ghanaians. And that is the intransigence I don't like about it.
Would you agree with me, Senior, that whether we like it or not, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, that's my first question. So before I come to Senior, I mean, I give you 5 minutes, so I'll let you wrap up on that, and I come back, give you another time again. Do you agree with me that the impact of COVID-19, we are dealing with COVID-19, had serious economic, problems on our economy?
Well, that is not in doubt. COVID-19 is a global pandemic. No country, like I said earlier, is living in isolation. So it has this ravaging effect on what? Nearly all countries in the world. That's what I'm talking about. We don't want to dispute the fact that COVID-19 has had its impact on the Ghanaian economy. But I am still particular about the position of government in some of these things. You have to be honest with the Ghanaian people. And the government should have, envisage a situation where the e-levy would fail. And a situation where they will come back to Ghanaians to let them understand that...
So if I understand you, we trusted government to manage our country very well. So they should have had some skill of foreseeability that e-levy may fail or some of these things may happen.
Certainly. They should have they should have envisaged a situation where e-levy could fail the Ghanaian people. And that will come back to them for another alternative. But even as we speak now, we are going to IMF. Like I said, the team is in Ghana now. What I am afraid about is that IMF programs are such that social services like this free senior high school, planting for food and jobs, nursing training allowances, teacher training allowances, this national cathedral and what have you that this government is championing, I can tell you that they are most likely to have issues with these policies. And if we don't take care, some of these policies may be scrapped.
Wow. Okay.
That's how the IMF conditionalities work.
All right. Thank you very much. Before I come to Michael, you can join the conversation by sending us a message on 0548503799, 0548503799. You can find the numbers just below the screens so that you can give us your opinion so far as this conversation is concerned. 0548503799, 05483799. Text message, WhatsApp message, wherever you're watching us from. Make sure that you join the conversation. When is 1:55, 5 minutes to the end of the show, we'll open phone lines so that those watching us, you can join the conversation. Michael is scared of that. Michael, would you agree with me? With my boss, Kennedy Ejapon? He said that
going to IMF
is a clear sign of a failed government. Would you agree with that statement from I call him boss because every big person is a boss. So anyways, do you agree that going to IMF is a first sign of a failed government?
It is a sign that the government is being challenged but not really failed.
So you think government hasn't failed?
Government is facing challenges
but not failed.
Yes, because it's still in office as government, and I think
so. If you are in office and you failed, you can't use failed.
The government still have 2 years more before it can be either given the nod to continue or to be voted out.
Okay.
But when you say failed, it means that we are at the decision point where we can choose another government over this government. It's still in government. Anything is possible. But before I continue with your question, first of all, I want to say good afternoon to our well-wishers who are watching us every day from this program. And I want to say a special greetings to my team at Alice Spa. Currently I'm doing marketing for Alice Spa, located at Nansoma Control. It's one of the powerful spas in Greater Accra. You have to come there.
I have to come there. I need a neck massage.
Yes. It's a very beautiful place. You have to come.
Right.
Now, you'll be there too.
Yeah,
very good. Now, on the substantive issue, whether or not going to IMF shows whether the government has failed. I think government or Ghana as a country is a member of IMF. Ghana became a member of IMF since September 20th, 1957.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to say this, I know everybody know, but the picture is that it's like something we don't belong to. Ghana is part of IMF.
Did you people know that in 2015 when the NDC, John Mahama, His Excellency, took Ghana to IMF? Did you know we were part? So it was normal to go back to a union you belong to?
I will come to
that.
Answer that question.
Okay, very well.
Yes. So as I was saying, Ghana is a member of IMF, and so we shouldn't have the impression that Ghana is going to a body that is not known, a body that when Ghana gets to at this time, we are going to face some detriment. No. IMF, as my brother said, we have been in IMF, we have gone to IMF several times. So it's not a strange organization or society or a place that we cannot go to when we are facing crisis. It's of course, it's true that the government is facing challenges, and I admit, as a Ghanaian, which is real, because of the COVID that all the world are experiencing, and Ukraine-Russia war that also came in the latter part of it.
So somebody will say, if you know there's COVID-19, there's Russia-Ukraine war, you don't live flamboyantly, or you don't live as if you have it all by allocating about $25 million or Ghana city to the building of National Cathedral. You haven't paid a school fee. I mean, when there were challenges, you don't live this lifestyle.
Yeah, so I get that. So as I was saying, because of this COVID issue, Ghana was doing well before the pandemic hit us. I wanted to get some data for you to get the statistics, the performance of the government before the pandemic. So before the pandemic, growth average was 7% between 2017 to 2019 from 3.5 in 2016. So Ghana was growing 7%. Then the fiscal deficit was brought under 5% of GDP, and primary balance was also positive for 3 straight years. The primary balance. And also inflation moderated from 15.4 in 2016 to single digit, that's 7.9 at the end of December 2019. Trade balance turned positive for 4 straight years. Current account deficit narrowed significantly. The reserve position was strong, with gross international reserve covered of between 3.6 and 4 months of import. The exchange rate was relatively
so clearly you are trying to let us know that economic indicators before COVID was good.
Yes, it was.
We agree. The president even said that we know how to bring the economy back, but not people back. COVID, its effects now is moved on. Why can't you bring the economy back, as the president said?
And that is why the president, in his own wisdom, has taken a decision which, at the time, some communicators of the government did not believe in. And I think it's the country is being challenged in these circumstances that there's nothing we can do now to salvage the economy by taking this decision, and which is an obvious fact. The government wanted to escape IMF, not because we are not a member of IMF, not because we are too scared to go to IMF for support, but government thinks that by its own policy, it can create an internal generated fund from its own scheme. But unfortunately, when government implemented the e-levy, the monies the government was trying to get, the government wasn't able to raise such monies, and that is why government has no option now to fall on the IMF.
On all your submissions, if you can make it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I want to make 2 points. Now, you see, you will not appreciate what the government is doing.
It's 1:55. We are opening the phone lines so that you guys can join
really appreciate
the conversation.
Why the government has no option than to go to IMF. If you don't appreciate the challenges or the effect of COVID and the Russia-Ukraine war on Ghana.
Clearly, your point. Right now, can you conclude? Yeah.
But right now, when you mention Russia and Ukraine, and you mention COVID, people say, "Oh, forget about it."
Yeah.
Things have to work. That's why we voted for the government. And I'm saying that the impact of it. Now we see food prices increasing, transport fare increases, fuel price increasing. Why is that change happening?
Just in about 4 or 5 days, I've spent about 2,000 cedis on fuel alone.
Exactly. And because the largest producers of crude oil, Russia, okay,
and
right
it's a general global challenge anyway.
There are a lot of sanctions on them. And because of this deregularization system.
Okay, as you are wrapping up, thanks.
Yes, private people now get the crude oil because of the increment of the price. And that increment or that burden have to be shifted to the ordinary Ghanaian. So we are facing challenges, and government has no option than to go to IMF.
Very well. So if you have just joined us, I've seen your message. 0548503799. We are opening the phone lines now. Call us. We'll pick about 2-3 calls so that the viewers can also be part of the show. I'll come to Senior. But so your point is that we shouldn't blame, or we shouldn't say government have failed for going to IMF. It is due to the global challenges the world is facing.
We should say government is challenged.
Okay, but not failed.
Not failed because it's still in government.
They are still in government.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we don't know the outcome from the IMF as well.
No, but the IMF is clear. We have gone there because we are suffering.
Exactly. And we are going for support.
And
so,
let me ask this question. Do you believe NDC in 2015, led by His Excellency John Mahama, also had challenges ask. Okay, we have a call. I'll come to you. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. I wish we can have the phones in the studio checked. Hello, good afternoon. Quite unfortunate. So I was asking, do you also, so would you believe now that IMF, NDC's decision to go to IMF in 2015 was not because they were failing in 2015, but they were just challenged? Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I agree, because
that is fine.
Without, if you are going to IMF, you have to explain the challenges that you are being confronted with before they can accept you.
Very well.
And help assist you with finances.
Very well.
And it's the same challenges, just that our challenges cannot be compared to that of the NDC. And we have to be frank about this. Because I've admitted that NDC at the time was also facing challenges. But the challenges under this government
very well.
is externally influenced by COVID and Russia.
Abdul Rafiul, he is saying that we should not say government have failed. First of all, do you believe running to the IMF is a complete failure by the MPP government?
Well, I think to a very large extent, or to an extent that he would agree that the NDC was also facing some challenges before they actually took to IMF. I think on that score, I also agree to some extent that we are not also immune to the setbacks of what COVID-19 and what Russia-Ukraine war. But I want my issue with this whole government.
As he's speaking, please, you can call us on the numbers you find below your screen. Call us on the numbers that you find below on your screen.
My issue with this whole IMF project is that we're made to believe that there's this team called a solid management economic team, and that this team, there's no other economic management team in this world that can compare to them, led by Almighty Dr. Mahmoud.
They have the men.
They have the men.
Oh, is the vice president in Ghana?
He's in Ghana.
He's still
in
in
Ghana.
Ghana. Okay.
It's unfortunate that he doesn't engage in the discourse about IMF, and only yesterday I saw him, cutting short for a different project altogether. Some of us would have thought that he would organize another town hall meeting.
No, I'm sure he has a calendar where he does. I think in August or something.
This is not the only issue that the vice president has, not. Giving so much attention. When we're talking about the e-levy, you recall I was on this platform and the vice president made a categorical statement in the past that government was not going to tax mobile money. And when the government eventually resolved to tax mobile money, in one of his economic lecture, he actually veered off the e-levy.
But the vice president, as the leader of the economic management team, from what the government communicators are saying, shows that this IMF program is different from your NDC IMF program. Don't you agree?
Like I said,
you guys didn't have COVID, you didn't have Ukraine, but you took Ghana to IMF. Why did you take us there?
Like I said from the onset, there's nothing like IMF is different from another person's IMF. IMF is IMF, and you only go there when you are not incapable of managing your domestic economy. You go there to seek help from them.
Yeah.
And all other countries that are going to IMF, like I know we are not only the country going to IMF for
Egypt recently received some funds from IMF.
It means Egypt is also struggling with their economy. So to an extent that the solid management economic team can no longer manage the Ghanaian economy and you have to take to IMF for support, it tells you that there's something fundamentally wrong somewhere.
Do you see political dishonesty on the part of the MPP leadership, especially because you've had some of them then in opposition speaking against and using IMF program NDC did as a major campaign tool? In fact, we heard some of them say they will reduce fuel, they will do this, they will do that. Are you disappointed as a young Ghanaian youth that this government have been dishonest? Oh,
Richie, if I say I am disappointed, then it's an understatement. When it comes to a statement made in the past and what we are experiencing today, I am more than disappointed. The president himself is not, free from some of these comments. Repeating the mistakes of President Mahama, it tells me that
President Mahama didn't have COVID. Why are you putting them together? President Mahama didn't have Ukraine war.
President Mahama also had Ebola.
Ebola in Ghana.
Not
you
in Ghana.
Saw a high surge in Ebola in Ghana.
Ebola was a pandemic in the sub-region. And today, as we are talking about
Ghana depends on the sub-region that most of the foreign
Ghana did not have a case of Ebola. But as we talk now, Cote d'Ivoire is not in the economic situation like Ghana. Cote d'Ivoire is in the sub-region. Cote d'Ivoire was also, saddled with
Cote d'Ivoire Parliament, and recently their finance minister, and they have passed the law that is seeking to regulate prices of goods. They are suffering. They are putting up certain measures.
You know, bottom line is we are talking about countries going to IMF for help. And I'm saying that whatever be the struggles they are going through at all, they are not going to at Cote d'Ivoire, and they're also in the sub-region. So if you want to make that, juxtaposition, want to compare Ghana to other countries that are going to IMF, and want to compare Ghana to other countries that are not going to IMF, we will certainly get countries that are not going to IMF under the circumstance. So is it fair to make the assertion that they are doing better than Ghana? So that's the point I'm trying to make. Yes. Like I said, I've never believed an economic management team led by Dr. Bawumia will ever think about going to IMF.
You are right, myself. I never thought we
people
could
are
go
suffering
to
in this country.
Bro, for 4 or 5 days, I've brought about 2,000.
People are suffering in this
Senior
country.
now agrees with us. I mean, Mike is coming to tell us that things are worse, isn't it, Mike?
The government is
challenged.
Because government generate revenue from our
it must be hard for MPP communicated. No, you. I mean, generally.
No.
It must be hard. It must be hard.
It is true. We admit. You see, honesty.
Is it mismanagement also part? Apart from the Ukraine and Russia war, it looks like Ghana is suffering more than Ukraine.
The problem.
Yeah, it's as if we are crying more than they believe.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Is there war in Ghana?
The problem is the communication.
Yes.
You see, there could be mismanagement in one sector, but when you instantly generalize that there has been mismanagement across governments, they are not being fair to the government.
Oh, but the NDC, but do you agree? Do you agree then? I'm sorry, bro. I'm coming. Sorry.
Was talking.
I was interjected. No, I was interjected.
You are not allowing me to express
the question I was asking is very clear. Would you agree with me, and so that you add it all and sum it up for me, that MPP also communicated, didn't try? They could have given some explanations you were given that NDC didn't fail in all sectors. It was maybe mismanagement at some part, which is human error. I mean, it happens.
I don't have problem if we believe that at the time some people weren't fair to the NDC communicate. I don't have a problem if you admit that fact.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to say is that right now it's indisputable that government is going to IMF because government is facing challenge beyond its control. Government never anticipated COVID. Government never anticipated Ukraine-Russia war, which is a fact that the ordinary Ghanaian understand. These things have caused the increment of food prices, fuel prices, as well as transport prices as well. So I'm trying to say that there are some condition which is not caused by the government. It's not induced challenges that government caused it. These are challenges that came from the external world to affect government. So if government is being challenged, I agree. If government is facing difficulties, I agree. Because prices are going high. Right now, if you're going to buy food, today you go and the price is different. Full price. And I am saying that it is true that we are facing challenges. But these things are not self-induced. They are challenges that are coming from the external world to affect our economy. And so I admit that government is going to IMF because the government is challenged.
I have a very important point to make. I think I want to state that in 2015, going down to 2016, or in the run-up to 2016 election, the MPP, the then opposition, actually used the IMF as a bargaining chip, to create an impression that Mahama-led administration was incompetent and what have you. In that same vein, as a political scientist and a student of politics, I can tell you that going forward in 2024, NDC is going to use this IMF program to also be a bargaining chip to win power in 2024, and that is not in doubt.
You see the NDC coming to power?
Yeah, the signs are very clear. I see that because quite apart from the fact that we have a historical, antecedent of 8 years, things are not working well. People are suffering. Fuel prices are up to the skies. Inflation on the record high. Cost of living is very high. Teachers are on strike demanding cola and what have you. People are really suffering. When you engage the ordinary Ghanaian, you appreciate and get acquainted with the trickle-down effect. People are suffering. Myself, I am not immune to the challenges of the country now. We all are going through some form of challenges in one way or another. Like I said, this IMF project, I have still in my own, conviction, things that things will not work out. Even though, like I said, I'm not a pessimist. Because in the event that you have a situation where we are going to scrap the free senior high school, we have a situation where we are going to scrap teacher and nursing training allowances because of what IMF conditionality. So it means that we are going our conditions would exacerbate. We have a situation where living conditions will be unbearable going forward.
Right. I didn't interject, so I'll allow him to also wrap up for us.
As I was saying, it is an obvious fact that nobody can dispute it. And I like the honest posture to some extent of my brother communicating for the NDC. I'm communicating for the ordinary Ghanaian. I'm not communicating for any political party. It is true that COVID and Ukraine war, a Russia-Ukraine war, has gotten an effect on our economy. And I've stated it earlier. The increment, the challenge, we are all suffering. Unless you don't take a car, you don't board a car. Unless you don't buy fuel. Unless you don't buy food. So these challenges are coming as a result of the external challenge, global challenges. You mentioned Turkey. That their inflation is rising high. US, over 40 years, have never experienced what they are experiencing now. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not using that to justify that then we should be better off.
This is not a failed government, it's a general economic challenge.
General economic challenge, and Ghana is no exception.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to say that the conduct of the government should tell you that the government at the initial stage would not like to approach the IMF.
Yeah.
I, sitting on your TV, will not support whoever condemn the then president of going to IMF. No. Probably there might be challenges that was beyond his control. That is why he went to IMF. So it will be hypocritical on my side to affirm or to support other people now who will be condemning the government. That the government is going to IMF.
Very well.
So the government going to IMF is because we are having economic challenges.
Okay. And
these are external factors, but not self-induced challenges by the government.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Wow. So this is where time will permit us. But I think next week we would be discussing. I'm sure by that time we'll see the developments of
Yes.
10 seconds. Our time is up.
Now, we are not certain that teacher trainee allowance will be cancelled.
That's not in doubt.
Yes, we are not certain.
Yes.
And I am not sure it will be cancelled, but I am not certain on that.
So
I am not certain.
Sorry, Robert Mintarasat.
I'm not certain.
They are not certain, but like what Rafi was saying, there's a likelihood your teacher training allowance will be cancelled.
No,
I'm saying that
it will be cancelled.
That's a possibility.
I am saying that
based on the experience in the past.
Yes, I don't know that for a fact.
Very well. We have to go. Our time is up. I don't have money to buy a flat.
I don't know that for a fact that free SHS also.
Yeah, but you can talk. Go ahead and speak.
I want to acknowledge one of few people.
Very well.
I want to use this opportunity to say a very good afternoon to Honorable Weekends, who I think is also doing the watching.
Very well.
He aspires for, he intends to contest for the youth organizer position of the Savannah region. I have never questioned his capabilities. I am in no doubt that he is the man fit for the job.
Very well.
And I also want to acknowledge Issa Bole, who is into building materials. He's the CEO of Best Build Ventures. I also want to acknowledge Joseph Enam, who is also doing the watching. I say a very good afternoon to everyone.
You came all the way from the north.
Yes.
I mean, to sit on the show.
Yes.
And we appreciate. Thank you so much. Pan African TV is grateful coming all the way from the north to be a guest on the show. Have you thanked all your people?
I've thanked all
all of them.
Yes.
Would you want to thank some people? 30 seconds.
I want to also say that
quick one so we leave.
Thank my workers and my colleagues at Ali Spa at Dansoma Control. If you live around Dansoma or Greater Accra, it's a place you have to come. We do.
If you take me there,
I'll take you there. Everything with a human body.
We have to go there. Every part of the human body.
Every part.
Even the waist.
Everything at all.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. From here we'll be going there. This one is from Abna. She says that they are not going to scrap the e-levy. There are new measures to take some from the merchants. Wow. This one also says that, hi host, good afternoon. Ghana face similar challenges such as Doomsaw, Ebola, gold price fall, cocoa price fall, crude oil fall, and on-field. And no support from donors. But in the case of MPP, the NDC left them with 3 on-fields. Right. Okay. This one says that upon all Baumia rapping about knowing how to manage the economy, he thought Ghana's economic is like his house management. This one says that my brother, I'm feeling shy now because I always support this party in my area. I don't even expect Baumia to follow. I can't say what you just said. This one is that I'm Ima from God, so let your guy be there be fair with Ghanaians by saying Ukraine-Russia war. Has Ukraine gone to IMF? Oh Well, that's a very solid point. You create IMF here. Well, on Facebook, so that we can wrap up. Minta Robert Yao, he says that I never agree with government, because as a leader, you must have a foresight vision and foresee the future with misfortunes are bound to occur. You must know all this before giving us false hopes and promise to vote for you. This is Rasat, MMCE Organa, and he's organization secretary, hopeful for 2022. Okay, and so yeah, very well. Seidu Anima Temte says he's doing the watching. This one says that good afternoon to you and your panelists. Your line is not connected. Please remind our brother that NDC had Doomso and solved it. They have hidden behind COVID and spent money. They shouldn't forget about scrubbing e-levy and okay. This one says that good afternoon. This is Ibrahim from Tamale. MPP failed totally. They always use COVID as an excuse, forgetting that they have gotten huge support. This is the last message. MPP definition of IMF has changed. Were you not the same people who said only failed government go to IMF? Shame on you. This is Isaac Atta from Akim Bantama. This is where time will permit us on another exciting edition of Youth Empowerment Television Show. Tomorrow, I'm going to interview a very wonderful lady tomorrow. She is doing so well. She has a program which is also empowering young people. Very, 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 very hardworking personality. She'll be here in the studio to join us to do the discussion. Gentlemen, I'm so grateful. It's been a pleasure. They are regular faces. Next week, they will be also, if they have time, they will also be here to do the watching. If you say a prayer, say something for me. I always come here with love to do this for God and country. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.